light and capture a full view of the actor's face to consistently see all points of reference. So, Weta were able to take everything that they had previously innovated with facial capture technology and now apply it to even more accurate movement data, making computer-generated faces even more believable. This is what made the first Avatar a technological masterpiece, because it mixed the physical and the digital so seamlessly. None of the actors were in a voice booth looking at an animation and reading a script. They were on set acting out the Na'vi and got extensively trained in movement, dance, combat, archery, and language to make the world and culture of Pandora as real as possible. And it worked. But there was one piece of the puzzle that didn't quite work: the water. With most of the movie taking place in the Pandorian forests, there were very few moments of the movie that actually had the characters in water, so it passed fine. But looking back at those shots, you can really see the lack of physics with the interaction of the water. Jake Sully's hand flows through with little resistance, and everything moves a little too quickly. The reason this looks off is because they shot this scene dry, with the actors on hanging cables rather than in actual water, likely because the technology just wasn't there yet. With Avatar 2, The Way of Water, Cameron understandably didn't want to mess up the whole water aspect of the movie. And so, underwater motion capture is that culmination of 13 years of technological development. Production built a 900,000-gallon water tank, surrounded it in motion capture cameras, got the crew their floaties, and threw them in the tank, designing what will be the most accurate computer-generated water we've ever seen in film. In order to do this, Cameron had to work with Sony to make upgrades to the Venice cameras used in the Fusion camera system on the first Avatar. That system completely reshaped how 3D movies could be shot. With a much more lightweight payload, James Cameron was able to shoot with a 3D camera rig on his shoulder in a virtual environment, something that was unheard of. But now the question is, how do you bring that camera rig underwater? Well, Sony decided to create a tether system for their Venice camera, which ultimately cut their camera in half. Instead of having the entire camera body with the camera operator, Sony was able to split the lens and image sensor that captures the shot and send that image data through a tethered 20-foot cable back to the rest of the body for processing, without sacrificing any quality. Mix this with Powell Actel's first submersible 3D camera rig, Deep X. Cameron now had the lightest and most versatile 3D camera system ever created that could also go underwater. Now, in terms of motion capture, all we have at the moment are a set of behind-the-scenes pictures from the production, with the actors sporting their motion capture suits in the giant pool. However, we can get a better idea of what kind of tech they're working with by looking at Weta's work on Alita: Battle Angel, also conveniently produced by Cameron. Alita's motion capture was incredibly impressive, and within the behind the scenes, we can see actress Rosa Salazar wearing an upgraded dual camera helmet rig for the facial capture. This upgraded rig already showed its strength, capturing facial reference points in stereo 2K resolution, rather than the mono standard definition captured 10 years ago on the original Avatar. And we can see Zoe Saldana rocking that updated facial camera rig in a behind-the-scenes photo. So we know that Avatar 2's Na'vi will look even more realistic and believable. So now the real question is, will all of this be worth it? Can The Way of Water capture the same monumental response that the first movie had, which impressively still sits in its throne at number 1? James Cameron seems to already be worried about this, saying that Avatar 2 will have to hit the 3rd or 4th highest grossing movie of all time just to break even. Something that executives are calling the worst business case in movie history. Avatar also doesn't have as much of that franchise universe aspect to it. It has a theme park and a video game that performed okay, but the first Avatar came out in 2009, the same year that Iron Man launched Marvel's Cinematic Universe, who have already pumped out 30 movies since. So the world of Pandora has quite some competition these days in terms of the universe-built movie concept. So what do you think? Will The Way of Water launch its way into the list as a highest-grossing movie? What are your thoughts on the updated underwater motion capture technology? Let's discuss in the comments below.